Nuclear physics, the science that changed our world forever. The story of nuclear physics is one of discovery and innovation. It is a story of scientists from around the world who came together to unlock the secrets of the atom and harness the power of the nucleus. It's a story that began over 100 years ago and continues to this day. In 1905, Albert Einstein published his theory of special relativity, which showed that mass and energy are interchangeable. This was a groundbreaking discovery that would eventually lead to the development of nuclear weapons. However, it wasn't until 1938 that the first self-chain reaction was achieved by scientists in Germany. This discovery opened up the possibility of generating large amounts of energy from nuclear sources. In 1942, the first nuclear reactor was built in Chicago, and 2 years later, the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. The world had changed forever. But what is nuclear physics? Put simply, nuclear physics is the study of the nucleus of the atom. It's a strange and mysterious world where the rules of classical physics no longer apply. In the nucleus, protons and neutrons are packed tightly together and are held together by a force known as the strong nuclear force. This is the strongest force in nature, but it only works over very short distances. One of the main goals of nuclear physics is to understand how this force works. To do this, physicists use a variety of tools, including particle accelerators, and by smashing particles together at high energies, they can create conditions similar to those found in the early universe. This allows them to study the fundamental forces that govern the behavior of matter. Another important goal of nuclear physics is to understand the structure of the nucleus. The nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons, but the way they're arranged is not random. In fact, there is a lot of order to the chaos. By studying this structure, physicists can learn more about the properties of nuclei and how they interact with each other. One of the most important discoveries in nuclear physics was the fact that nuclei can vibrate and rotate. This was a surprise to scientists because they had expected nuclei to be more like planets orbiting around the sun. But they found that nuclei are more like a group of friends hanging out at a party. Each nucleus is made up of individual particles that are constantly moving and shaking. But despite all this motion, the nucleus as a whole can still act like a single entity. For example, all nuclei have a certain amount of stability, and this stability is determined by the balance between the strong nuclear force and the electromagnetic force. When the strong force is stronger, the nucleus is more stable. And when the electromagnetic force is stronger, the nucleus is less stable. One of the most famous examples of nuclear instability is the hydrogen atom. The hydrogen atom has one proton and one electron. Normally, the electron is bound to the proton, but if the electron absorbs enough energy, it can break free. When this happens, the hydrogen atom becomes an ion, and the excess energy is released in the form of light. This process is known as nuclear fusion, and it's the same process that powers the sun. Another important concept in nuclear physics is nuclear fission. A heavy nucleus splits into two or more lighter nuclei. This process releases a tremendous amount of energy, and it's the same process that's used in nuclear weapons and nuclear power plants. Nuclear physics is a truly amazing science. It has allowed us to understand the fundamental nature of matter and to harness the power of the nucleus for our own purposes. It's a science that's driven by curiosity and a desire to understand the world around us. And it's a science that's made the world a better place in many ways. I hope you enjoyed learning about nuclear physics. If you did, please subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.